Ed me, take out that. Keep the music. How about this? A little background music. That's a little less background music. Ah, that gets to be confusing, does it not? Here we go. Comments. Welcome aboard, team. And yeah, where we at? Yo, good question. Where we at? For the last couple of weekends, it's been pretty easy. What do we do Monday and Tuesday? Fall into a routine. Oh, that's boring. But Saturday was, Monday we did Saturday's photos. Tuesday we did Sunday's photos. There was no race on Sunday. It was September 11th. A day, what a day. Oh, just terribly, terribly sad. Changed all of our lives. Even those that were not even born at that point in time. You're born now. You're growing up in a different world. Uh, I don't know, much less trusting world. It's just kind of sad as that goes, but certainly is. It's like we look at people differently and everything like that. And it's really sad, just terribly sad. And it's not what I want to talk about over here, but it's such a shame. It really is. You know, I I enjoy history and things like that, and I know different groups of people come at different times. Everybody gets collected in different areas, and then different groups of people. I'm sorry, your grouping of people over time always help your grouping of people over time. All good, right? And we need a lending hand. Maybe we'll tie it into this. We need a lending hand, as we continue to grow. We learn, we do, et cetera, et cetera. But when the whole thing really works, is when different people, different groups of people help different groups of people. I grew up in Queens. I grew up in Woodside, and then as an adult, when I was working, I moved back to actually moved back to Woodside. Come to think of it, moved to Woodside, Astoria, things like that. Astoria was I don't know if it's predominantly Greek, but the shops were definitely predominantly Greek. Unbelievable food, pastries. Pastries were fantastic. It's a good thing I was doing some running at the time, but it was great to see. The Woodside area, uh, really diverse. I think I'm going to go more Irish than anything else, but I'm not even too sure about that. Definitely great Irish pubs. Again, very good, very good that I was doing a lot of running at the time. Headed up there quite a bit. Dad came down for that. Used to stay with me once in a while, and we just went out. But the point is that the diversity amongst those areas and how everybody seemed to have gotten along, or maybe I was living in a dream world, but I don't think so. Everybody got along and everybody helped each other. We're living in Queens, we're living in Manhattan, we're living in those areas, working in Manhattan. I didn't live in Manhattan. But you were able to see and participate and enjoy food from all over the world. And it seemed like everybody was living in a symbiotic relationship. It's going, yeah, there's always problems. There's always something, that goes along there, but everybody helps each other. It's just absolutely phenomenal. Really is great. September 11th probably changed that a little bit. Hopefully not. Hopefully we can all get back to that we kind of an attitude, not the I kind of an attitude. My group does this, your group does that. Ugh, not good. What about me? How do I get noticed? How do I get acknowledged on something? What about the team? Bring back a team building thing. Oh, that would be nice. And maybe that's why I enjoy different groupings of people or different groups, where you do get that camaraderie thing. And look to build on that camaraderie thing. It's also probably why I don't have much patience. Yeah, you might not know this, but Karen's, yeah, she'll tell you how I don't have much patience, but just stupidity. It's like, why? Why? Don't you get the big picture of what we're trying to accomplish or what is? Why is it that you just don't do the little things that just should be done? And they're have tos. They're have tos. I'm not talking about, hey, being that super nice person. It snowed, and then you go over to your neighbor's house and you shovel their driveway because they're elderly or not able to shovel the driveway, or maybe you got yourself this big ass fancy snowblower and you just want to completely clean the neighborhood. I'm not talking about that. That's extreme. You do that, hey, yeah, you know what? You're a good person. You're a really good person. We call that a mitzvah in the Jewish world. You call it a blessing in other worlds. You call it whatever you want to call it, but you are like unbelievable, unbelievable. I'm just talking about the person, since we're using snow as a reference over here. I don't know, that shovels a path to the mailbox so the mail person could get to your mailbox. Is that above and beyond? No, you just should do that. And when you're working as a team about, oh, I don't know, giving credit where credit is due. What a thought that is. Or in a work environment or some other environment, even project, whatever it is, and you know that XYZ paper has to be completed, complete the thing. Don't force everybody to wait for umpteen times to do it. Do it. Just do it. Do it. Want to put that a little bit more into my world? If you're going to be on somebody's radio show, TV show, something like that, and we need a bio, send the bio. We're doing you a favor. Send the bio, right? It's not that hard. If you don't have one, just say, hey, I don't have one. It's not that hard to write. Really is not. Intros, not that hard to write. I actually love doing that. I just had that opportunity for me to write an intro for me. How exciting is that? I think it is. We'll put the plug in. Hey, Doug, afternoon. We'll put the plug in for the Crohn's Colitis Foundation. They have rebranded, and maybe this is what brings the whole thing together too. But they the walks have been going on now for years. And Kara, since you're here, Kara's my wife. I need to know how many years I've been emceeing those walks, for real, including the support group. I need to know how many years I've been doing the support group. I know how many years we've been involved in the whole thing. That was an easy one to recall. But the gentleman called me up and he's like, to discuss it, whatever. I'll be hosting it, by the way, after the racing season. For those of you who are watching from the racing season, it just keeps going. It really does. That's October 24th, the Sunday. I'll check the date on that one. I will put more up there. But the point is that, he needed to get some information, and I did, and I got it. And then he was kind enough. He's like, well, this is how we'll introduce you. And he mentions about strategies of success, host of Tomato Talk, things like that. I'm like, no, that's not really it. It's about the group. It's about the team. And it was like, I just wanted to let them know it gives me credibility to stand in front of that group. The fact that I've been involved for so many years, been an MC for so many years, and a spoken leader for so many years, but just do it. Just do it. If somebody wants to have a conference call with you prior to you doing something for them, or they're doing something for you, even more so, just do it. Just do the whole thing. So it's a group effort. It's a group effort. So there are a lot of things that are going on. So here's that's some of my big ass motivation about why. I get really super frustrated with people that just don't see the groups kind of thing, that are getting in their own way. Some of that has to do with the chronic illness world too, right? It's interesting to see, and it could be a lot more than just, well, any chronic illness. It doesn't make a difference what it is, or anybody who's made mistakes along the way too. I've gotten to know some folks that have been through some very interesting personal challenges over the years, very severe personal challenges over the years. Made bad calls, like really bad calls. A couple of folks that have wound up in jail, and not an overnight stay, years stay for some stuff that they've done. In fact, there was one guy, and I cannot in any way, shape condone what he did, right? Not in any way, shape, and I did not. I definitely did not. In fact, when he wrote a book and he asked me to proofread it for him, so I did. I didn't even understand the language. It was English. It was street language. I had to read the first couple of chapters a few times to kind of understand what he was saying in there. It was a totally different world. Totally different world. But he changed. I mean, that was a phenomenal thing. And that's what I wrote in that book. It's that I couldn't relate, but then he changed. And you know what? He's got that attitude. And it was the attitude that impressed me, not past things, but the attitude that impressed me about how he was able to change and the struggles he constantly goes through. That's a lot of luggage. It was a felony conviction. That's a lot of luggage to carry, going forward. Another gentleman, same kind of situation, spent a number of years in prison. That his situation is different than what he did and got arrested for. How he got treated was really, really terrible. Like not by the other prisoners, but by the system. Worked his way through it. Very successful businessman now. How do you do that? How do you do that? There's a couple of folks in the motivational world, the same kind of thing. It's like, they've been through crap. I mean, really crap. Had nothing, nothing. And then they saw the light and did it. Folks that have been sitting there with some chronic illness that like have beaten the crap out of them, truly beating the crap out of them. And it's like, where are you going to go from here? And then something happens. Those are amazing people. I'm inspired by those people. And maybe that's part of the reason why I get frustrated with little things is somebody else does or I do myself. Is it's so bent out of shape on the little things. But when a team works together for a common cause and helps people work through those things, and that is freaking unbelievably beautiful. It really is. So let's tie this back in with all the other stuff that I do. Income. I got income coming in from I work 2 freaking jobs. I shouldn't say that. I'm blessed with 2 places that I work. Multiple streams of income, if you want to call it like that, you entrepreneur people. Well, except I'm not the entrepreneur. I'm one of those entrepreneurs. I work at the companies, get paid, so that's it. A lot of other stuff that you guys all see is all volunteer. Do I want it to remain all volunteer all the time? No, not really. I make some referrals to folks and that kind of stuff, but no. So that's why it's like, why? Why I can do what I do. I'm not expecting to get compensated by this stuff. So that's where that one goes. All right. Am I a nice guy? Nah. It's not just purely that. It's the rest of the stuff. There is always something that what's in it for me. And there always should be something in there that what's in it for you kind of a thing. And it doesn't necessarily have to be money. It could be an escape. I've gotten on a comedy stage. Why? Because I want to be a comedian? No. No, because I wanted to improve my public speaking. So that was suggested to me to do. And that was by another guy that had a little bit of an A problem. Big A problem. He found comedy as his healing process. So that's what he was doing, very, focused on it, gets on stage frequently. And I met him through Toastmasters, another his group. Everybody helps everybody move along. And he's like, well, you want to do comedy? I was like, no. Guess get on stage, like, and I was like, well, let's see. I'm fine getting on a stage. I'm not fine being funny, but it'll help my community. I'm in. I'm in. Oh, is that a wild situation? And I can't tell you that every time went well, but when it did, it was just an absolutely incredible thing there. Mr. Fencer, how are you? I want the beard back. I don't know, man. I think about that every time I get my hair cut. And now I wanted to, well, whatever. This part keeps falling down, So I got to go back to Teddy Pritchett there, my International Cuts Masters. And now I'm wondering about it, like just cut the damn thing back and be done with it, or go with the moose, get all stylish and do that whole thing. But I got on stage. Biggest one, 150 people. It was great. And Karen, my wife, was she was the brunt of that one. Get on stage and did it. It was fun. It was all improv. Wow. Is that something that's across the board? Doing that. It was improv. Even when I got up on stage for the first time, man, I practiced my routine. Then I called a friend of mine and I was like, oh, going on stage soon. Like, she, what are you going to talk about? I told her. She's like, well, why don't you do this? And I'm like, okay. Okay. Don't ever say okay. I mean, I'm getting ready to go on. I'm thinking, okay. So what do? I grab my James Dean drink. James Dean always got on. James Dean got on stage with a drink. All comedians, right? They get on stage with a drink. I could tell you why. They got on stage with a drink. They put it down on the stool. They put their whatever down on the stool with it too, and do it. So I get up there. I'm so freaking nervous about everything. So I put it down on the stool that was against the back wall, and then I turn around. There's the microphone. Microphone set up for some guy who's 6'2". My buddy Keith, who got me there, he introduced me. I don't know how to pull down the microphone. So that was either scary moment number one. I'm jumping up high. I jumped up high. My, yeah, it was kind of funny. People laughed, and I forgot the rest of what I was going to say the whole way through. Improv along the way. Took another here's another little learning lesson too. I took took I took acting classes. I took acting classes. I was terrible. Just absolutely terrible. So acting classes. What do you do when you act? There you go. Who's been on stage here? Mike, Doug, right? Doug and I did an interview one time. We were on the Donna Drake show. So Doug is thanks, Doug, by the way, with the nice jacket. So we're being recorded, we're being taped. Donna is there, Donna, myself, and Doug, and we're interviewing Doug about, what he's doing and where he's gone and how much of an inspiration that man is, by the way. Absolutely incredible. That man, that man in his wheelchair has done things that are just absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. So anyhow, we're interviewing him. Right? Who are we paying attention to when you're interviewing somebody like that? Your guest and co-host, obviously Donna, and paying attention to the whole thing. So when I'm acting, what are we supposed to pay attention to? The person you're acting with. What do? I pay attention to the audience. No, that's not the case. So when you are acting, when you're taking on the persona of somebody else, you are there, supposed to be there. I couldn't step away from the audience. I kept going back to the audience, and I completely forgot my lines and all the rest of that kind of stuff. This is like crazy. What an English biz that was. It's hard. Acting is hard. It really is. You tend to think it's easy. It's not. I even gave a speech where I had to give somebody else's material. You know, couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. What's the takeaway on all of that stuff? Besides, don't hire Brian to be an actor. It's authenticity. I couldn't get away from that thing. Look, if I screw up, I screw up. Whatever. It goes with the territory. It's fine. But authenticity is another big behind the scenes picture in that one. Why are you doing what you're doing? Not did you make a mistake? Who cares? Right? But why do you do what you do? What's your authenticity? What's your credibility? So when that guy wanted to introduce me as the host of Tomato Talk and the strategies around, I was like, the audience don't care. They don't care. They're not there for that. They're there because of the fundraising, because of the camaraderie, because of the support of that foundation. That's the message to be delivered. I was like, introduce me as that kind of guy, as the one who could relate to them with the support groups, with the walks, with the fundraising, and with the experience of being involved with the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation for my aspect of it. It's about 30 years, that kind of thing. That's the important part of it. Keep that in mind. If you're writing an intro, somebody's writing an intro for you, you've got to relate to the audience. Don't tell everybody how great you are. No one cares. It's true. No one cares. No one gives a damn how great you are. What they care about is whether you care about them. That's the important part. October 7th, they're going to be on a radio show through Nassau Community College. I will be watching some of those other programs to see how much it's changed over the years. But last time I was on there, what they did is they interviewed me about my bio. Just things I've accomplished, what I had in the bio. That's not what I want to accomplish over here, but I understand where they're coming from. If it's the same thing, where they're coming from as to how they prepare for the show. So that's important. But I also want to make sure that I fully understand what their current message is, what they're trying to deliver out there. Success stories, motivation, whatever it might be, and make sure it fits in. And I can tell you, authenticity, credibility, and the ability to communicate is going to be my overall message. I will be using different examples along the way to get that out. That's my goal. I just got to make sure it fits in and see exactly what it is their goal in order to do that. All right. So let's get on. What else are we doing there? So there's that. So work, work, forget out of the equation. Other stuff. I'm a board member of the ECNY Foundation, Executive Consultants of New York Foundation. What is that all about? That's with Maria Fry. You don't hear that much about it. Hopefully, you will hear more about it. I tie it in where I can publicly, but for the most part, it's kind of behind the scenes, working through the website, getting different information up there and things like that. Big plans, big plans. What it is, Maria does these events, workshops where she's helping people in transition, folks that have thought they had a career at a certain company and find out they've been let go for whatever reason, and now they are looking for a new position. Right? My side of it is a little bit more on the younger side. I, through that effort and through relationships with other people like CEO, Career Employment Options, is that I speak at these high schools. I speak at high schools and I speak to the students, and I'm generally making the opening remarks. I'm not going to say it's keynote because they tend to be short, so it's not really a keynote. But the opening remarks, a lot of times I'll invite somebody in with me to do it. Got to make sure the credibility factor is there. I got a great story on that one. But what I'm telling these students and any of these other classroom events that I do and the rest of that stuff, and I love doing those things. And there's a big deposit into my goodwill bank, which is something I read in somebody's business book somewhere along the line. And it really is. Makes me feel good to do this thing. It is for these students to take a look. Take a look at what they do in their spare time. You know, that integrity thing. What do you do when nobody's looking? That's integrity. Assuming you're doing the right thing. But what do you do in your spare time? When you're not getting paid, you're not being watched, and you just can do whatever it is you like to do. What's your hobby? Same kind of question. Fourth grade class, I couldn't, I didn't know what to do on a career day, but I wound up going down that path. I learned so much from that fourth grade class because that's where this one came from. Because I spoke to them, I was like, I didn't want to know. What do you want to do when you're a fourth graders, right? What do you want to do when you grow up for a career? I was like, oh, what a crud question that is. So I started asking him, it's like, what do you do? What do you volunteer and stuff like that? And with listening to these students, what they volunteer, man, they could have created a movie with the talent that was in that room, or with the desires, at least, that was in that room. Anywhere from the seamstress to the camera to the announcer, and so much more. It was just absolutely amazing. It had an permanent impact on me. But it's the same thing that holds true. Conversation I had with my thanks, Doug. I just read that. Yeah, this is kind of funny. That actually, it is funny. There you go. You can all read that. But 21 minutes. You can be a stand-in actor. I could stand. Doug sits. Da 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 da. Boom. All right, Doug. My comedy relief over there, and that's attitude. That's another big one there too, Doug. Got great attitude. Just absolutely great attitude. But so, regardless of age, right? Here I am. I'm now 61. The question is, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? What do I want to do? With the rest of my life. What do I want to do that's impactful, meaningful, fun, that I can do easily, relatively easily, and accomplish and enjoy along the way, and the rest of that stuff. And do I get paid, compensated, not compensated for the whole thing? That becomes a question too, and the rest of it. But it's a question. It's not the everything that goes along with it. So it doesn't matter what age you are when you ask that question. What do you do when nobody's looking? What do you do for fun? What do you do that really brings you the big smile on the face? And then pursue that. Pursue that. Now, this whole thing here, I've been spending a lot of time. I get asked a lot with a couple of things. One, the Crohn's Foundation, personal. Toastmasters. I've met the greatest people in the world at Toastmasters. That is an absolute, well, let's go at 80%. There's always people, but 80% of people really there to help each other grow, become better speakers, better leaders, all the rest of that stuff. Help people through building confidence, big, taking chances, big. And I got on that comedy stage, and that was because of Toastmasters. I ran an event with 17 committees. Who the hell knew? With 175 people attending. I never did that before. It was all Toastmasters, all Toastmasters. What did they do for me? Gave me the confidence to go out in a business thing. I was working at a company. There was 2 mergers. Had to go check to make sure I could talk about this. I had to go watch the eyes, we'll look for that. I had to go, I didn't have to go. I volunteered. I volunteered to visit all of our offices on the East Coast and to tell these people what the new CEO, it's not current companies I work with, it's fine. And it was true anyhow. What the new CEO was not telling them that they needed to do to prepare for the merger. And I called, I was like, can I go do this one, do that thing? Everybody needs to hear it. Yeah, you can do that. It's not going to be well received. I was like, yeah, I get that. I called the managers of these places. I got goes, oh man, they're going to hate you. I said, that's fine. They have to know. They have to know. Yeah, is that for no authentic credibility kind of a thing? And they didn't hate me. I went in there really prepared, and I gave them the information, solutions to the issue as well, and did it. I never felt so good about that. Again, it was communications. It wasn't the career, wasn't the industry, anything like that. So a lot of things, communications is really big. It creates all kinds of opportunities along the way. Many of them you would never know. You just don't plan for because of things that come up. Did I know firms were merging? I had no idea. Did I know that not all the information was going to be shared with everybody? I had no idea. I listened. I had the guts to raise my hand and say, hey, president of the company is not telling the whole story here. I will. I did. And I actually was my best summer with that company. Didn't stay with them, but anyhow, but it was. So you got that. Toastmasters, Crohn's Class, etc. And what about this car racing? What about all this stuff that's going on out there? What does it all fit into? One, just like getting on a comedy stage, announcing car racing. I've never done that before. You want to give me something I've never done before that has to do with a microphone and a group of people and entertainment? And yes, it is entertainment that I'm doing. I'm in. Love to do that. So that was one reason. That's a little personal. Wow, what a learning experience it would be. Then you're doing tie this in with the ECNY Foundation from a career standpoint. I was like, maybe. I had no idea. And this is the big thing here, folks. I'm going to leave you with this. Well, I have no idea? Well, maybe you have no idea. See, when you put yourself into these situations where you're doing it for yourself, the what's in it for me, but you're still doing it for the right reasons, right? I wasn't hurting anybody by learning how to do this. I was straight up with them. It's like, look, I don't know anything about car racing. I've been a spectator. I don't know anything about cars. I've driven one. I don't know anything about drag racing. I've never done anything like that before. I don't know the terms, nothing. And they were like, it's good. We'll teach you. Wow. That was great. That was really great. Pete Scalzo, Johnny Consoli, thank you. And everybody else along the way since then. It's so much more than I've been able to take in. But here's what I didn't know. How much of a career thing that was. Not for me. Although who knows. But how many careers are in automotive, the auto industry? How many careers that are going to be in the battery car industry, the electric car industry? Amazing. But what about out the track? And I want to share this with you tomorrow, right? This post that somebody put up over there. It was about a track closing down. He said, but if you close the track, people are not going to have the opportunity to learn a lot of these things. Some of these things I'm going to mention right now, not all everything that was there. We'll go through it there, but I had no idea. Never imagined, never thought of, wasn't in the realm of anything within my past experience because I never did it. But maybe it did. Remember, I ran a conference for Toastmasters, 17 committees. It was an event, 175 people. It was a day-long event. It was pretty big. How to get people motivated that I never saw, how to get everybody on the same page, how to coordinate the whole thing and keep the thing on time. Similar in nature to what goes on with the drag races. It has to start. Okay, that's good. Cars have to pass through tech area. That's kind of good. Paperwork has to get up front, has to go into the system. Car numbers have to be read, has to be posted into the system. This way it shows up on the announcer screen. I could read off the names and then we could track to see what time everybody went and then do different kinds of races too. We're keeping track of all kinds of information. It's complicated. Who knew? It's an effort, organizational effort that needs to be coordinated with a lot of moving pieces. That conference had a lot of moving pieces. I didn't know what in the world I was doing there. You learn. I didn't know what I'm doing here. You learn. It's a great learning experience. I wonder who else could learn from that experience. What about selling tickets, marketing the event? Ah, that's marketing, is it not? Marketing, advertising. What about announcing? Isn't it radio? Perhaps TV? Perhaps a commercial could have been created out of it? Fantastic. We didn't even talk about the cars. And for the most part, I really can't talk too much about the cars because I don't know how to fix a car. I don't know anything about that. I could buy a car. I could drive it to my mechanic shop, but not the rest of that. There are multiple opportunities. Do I think a track over here on Long Island is a good idea? Yeah, I wouldn't have that shirt here if I didn't think so. I wouldn't be wearing this cool jacket either. I think it's a great idea, and it goes beyond the racing community. And that's actually what I'm looking for as a message to deliver. So when I do that show, that's what I'm going to do. They're going to want to talk about the racing because they want to talk about some opportunities on Long Island, growth opportunities, things to do that are fun. They're going to want to focus on the racing. Happy to do it. Happy to do that. But I want them to understand too, this is a huge opportunity, huge learning opportunity for our students that think they want to go into marketing, advertising, radio, get a little bit of airtime on that microphone to deal with operations and somewhat of a stressful situation because as cars are coming, want to move things along quickly. Got a time frame that's going on over there. And a lot of folks are involved in that. It's very much an assembly line. And when it works, it's just absolutely great. And those folks, those staff members that are down on the track officials, making sure it's safe and clean and proper and all the rest of that stuff, phenomenal. Phenomenal. It doesn't happen with one person. It happens as a team. That's phenomenal. I'm glad to be a little part of that whole team. It feels good. It definitely feels good. And I think it creates opportunities, and I think it fits in with everything. So if you're asking me why I'm all over the place, I'm not as all over the place as you might think. It does need to be focused in a little bit more so, and I'll stay in my lane. But let me tell you something. There's a lot of good. There's an awful lot of good in this world. There's an awful lot of good things that are taking place right here on Long Island. There's plenty of things to do for family fun. There's plenty of learning experiences and stuff like that. Plenty of careers. Plenty of ways to learn about careers. Suffolk Community College is bending over backwards with that. They got the incubator at Stony Brook Incubator, but also in Riverhead, they have a culinary. I don't know if it's an institute exactly what they're calling it, but they got a bakery in downtown Riverhead. It's real life experience. Plenty of places to get real life experience for our students. And when they get that real life experience, hopefully they have the same experience that I do. That they're going to see the possibilities and stuff that they never saw before. They're going to get inspired to continue on in whatever that industry is, whatever that career is. They're getting inspired to be absolutely anything and find the people that are around them that will help them do that. They need to be authentic. They need to be credible. They need to be part of and find that team that's going to help them get to that place. And they are going to be what really helps to make Long Island a great place and continue to fill all those positions that are opened in the different manufacturers on Long Island. Speak to Ron Loveland about that. There's plenty of places open. That's the tie-in with the ECNY Foundation. It's fulfilling the career aspirations of these students, letting them see what's possible. There's so much that can be done. We just need to continue it. And that, my friends, is my backstory and my why of what goes on with so many different things. And I thank you all so very, very much. I absolutely appreciate everything you say. Even you, Michael Fenster, about bring back the beard. I don't know. I've thought about it. Who knows? All right, my friends. Stay very well. Stay focused. Keep inspired. Keep talking. Speak well. Speak often. Live inspired. Because you will definitely inspire other people to do exactly the same thing. And even that statement has been inspired by somebody else. He's no longer with us, but he left an indelible impression on me. as you do too. Share that with somebody else. Impress somebody else. Not how smart you are, but how much you care. Have a great day.